Welcome back to another episode of Lucky From Within podcast. I am so excited to be here today recording this particular podcast from this incredible podcast studio. And I am just smiling from ear to ear to be able to talk about this particular topic today. So I want to talk about The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard, because this powerful principle, if you can apply it to your life, your manifestations are just going to pop off in 2025. So when I first got into manifestation and I started to learn these principles, I really started to delve into what the step-by-step process of manifestation really was. And it became this mechanical, quite a masculine, structured process. And I didn't mean it to be, but it was just the fact that I wasn't actually embodying the principles and practices. And what I actually learnt about manifestation was that, and I think a lot of us learn this about manifestation, is that it is this step-by-step process, and you have to have this rigid morning routine and you have to follow things to a T. And if you don't, you won't manifest the things that you desire, right? If you think about it and you see all of the time when you look up manifestation online, it's like, okay, write down your desires 50 times every single day and then you will manifest it. Or visualize every single morning, otherwise you won't manifest your desires. Like it becomes this very mechanical process. And I remember when I first started to implement some of these practices throughout my day, and I was like, okay, if you don't have a morning routine, then forget it. Like, forget it. You're not manifesting your life, your dream life. And I always thought it was just such a strange thing of, hang on a second, do I really have to have this 2-hour long morning routine to manifest what it is that I desire? And my awareness now is so much different than my awareness then. And the principles and the manifestation process that we're taught and is so readily taught as well, I believe it is just not correct. And maybe you are listening to this and you have learnt the manifestation process up until this point, and you're thinking, why aren't I manifesting the things that I desire? Why is it that every time I, create the desire, create the vision board, I'm not actually bringing it into my external reality? What is happening there? And that is why I want to talk about why feeling is the secret, what it actually means by Neville Goddard, and how you can actually start applying it to your life. Because the principles that I learned about manifestation in the beginning was, what do you want? Get clear on what you desire, right? And then from that space, it's, really using the practices and the tools to bring that into fruition. Take aligned action, follow your intuition, all of those practices. But it became this mechanical process, like what I was talking about before, with the masculine coming in. But what I've really understood now with feeling is the secret is the fact that we want to actually be able to feel our desires as if they have already manifested. So the whole principle with feeling is the secret is it's actually feeling as if you have already manifested your desires. So that's what Neville Goddard really talks about. So when we are creating and doing our practices from the masculine, where it's like, oh, I just have to do this. I just have to do this journal practice. I just have to, do this writing down my desires 50 times a day. Can you see that we are very in the mechanical? We are not actually feeling our desires. We're not actually in the feminine. Because the feminine is when we are actually fully in spirit, when we are actually moving in alignment with spirit, what we have been guided to do. And we are actually feeling and embodying the practices rather than just doing the practices. Because aligned action and the masculine is very important part of manifestation, but it's the last piece of the manifestation process. It's the last piece before we, like when we take the aligned action, it's the last piece of the puzzle. So in order to actually, connect with our desires, we have to be in the feeling of it. So rather than just having this rigid routine of this manifestation process and practice and feeling like, oh, it's something that I have to do, it's something that I should do, that is actually bringing you further away from your manifestations. Because we want to be in the feeling of it. We want to actually feel the feelings of the desire manifested into the 3D, which is really, really, really powerful. So how to actually bring this principle into your life is allow yourself to be guided to the particular practices and the tools that are in alignment for you. Some people love journaling, other people don't. Some people, love meditating for an hour, other people don't. For me, what I love to do throughout the day is, these shorter blocks of visualization where I'm actually getting into the feeling of my desires manifested. And if I feel called, I will do some journaling that allows me to get into the vibration of my desires manifested, right? So can you see that I am very intuitively tuned into what practices I feel called to embody rather than I should do this or I should do that, rather than I should have this 2-hour morning routine. It's very, okay, what do I feel pulled towards? So the more that you can lean into what you actually feel pulled towards rather than what you feel like you should do, the more that you're actually going to create that feeling within your body as if your desires have already manifested. Because it's not actually the visualization aspect of visualization that manifests, it's the feeling that you get into within the visualization practice. So a lot of people come to me and they say, well, I'm not good at visualization. And for one, I ask them, does that belief serve you that you're not good at visualization? Because again, it's a practice. It's why we call everything a practice. We're practicing until it becomes effortless and we become good at it. It's like, professional sports stars. They don't just one day wake up and they're incredible sports stars. It's a practice. So it's the practice of visualization, but it's also rewiring from the belief that you're not good at visualization, because it's all beliefs. It's all beliefs that is stemming from. So within that visualization practice, saying practice, is actually tapping into the feeling of your desires. And when I'm talking about the feeling as if your desires have already manifested. It's also the feeling that we embody throughout the day as well. So a lot of the time, we don't realize and have the awareness, but our identity, who we see ourselves at, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs, they all have a certain vibration. They all have a certain feeling. So for an example, you desire to have more success and you desire to have more money and wealth in your life. But then you look at your bank account and there's no money in there. And then you make, that creates a certain feeling within your body, and that emits a certain vibration throughout the day of lack and scarcity, which is your dominant vibration, which is your dominant identity. So we desire more money, but our vibration is saying a completely different story. So we actually have to shift our identity. And this is the work that I absolutely love doing with clients. And all of my programs are based on shifting the identity. Because when you shift your base identity throughout the whole day, you raise your vibration to actually match your desires, because we don't get what we want, we get who we are being. So it is so impactful and important to actually vibrate at a different level. So for an example, in terms of the money, it's like, okay, Ashley, how do I shift that identity? It's actually looking, instead of giving so much meaning to what is actually in your bank account, look at how much wealth you have in other areas of your life. Look at the food that you have in the fridge. You can find things that make you feel wealthy, right? And when you shift that perception of yourself into the perception of, hang on a second, I am wealthy right now, no matter what my bank account says. And then you can tap into the feeling of already having money in your bank account. So no matter what you actually see in the 3D in your current circumstances, that's not the truth. The truth is tapping into the imaginary. The truth is the visualization practice in the 4th D. So the more that you can visualize having and feel it in your body, the quicker that your reality will shift before your eyes. So that is one example for that as well. I go into this so much deeper within my programs. Audacity to Be Her is all about tapping into your 6-figure version of you, right? I had to actually embody the 6-figure version of me before the money showed up. And again, the multi-6-figure version of me before the money showed up. And now I'm tapping into the $1 million version of me. So can you see that the vibration and the identity is what you are actually admitting into the world? And we don't get what we want, we get who we're being, because the law of attraction only works with the law of vibration. So this is so powerful concept to understand. And I'm actually holding a free live event. So next week, if you're watching this when I bring this particular podcast episode out, or if you are listening to this later, then the recording will be on the YouTube channel for you to listen to. And I'll link it down below for you, because this is all about how to actually match the vibration of your desires, because that's when everything actually manifests into the 3D. So to summarize this podcast episode, I spoke about why we need to actually feel our desires rather than it just being this mechanical process of I should do this, I need to do this in order to manifest the desires. It's like, what do I feel called to do? How can I actually embody it? How can I actually get into the feeling and the vibration of my desires manifested, because that is the Neville Goddard principle of the feeling is the secret. It honestly is the secret to manifesting everything that you desire. So the more that you can apply this to your life and your manifestations, watch everything change. So, beautiful souls, that is everything that I wanted to say on this particular podcast episode. And just remember that the lucky is always from within. Until next time, bye.